I'm using this as my little fidget toy today. It's my daughter's stackable heart crayons. I was diagnosed with autism at age 31. That was 1 year ago. And I also have an autoimmune disease called alopecia, which sometimes flares up and causes my hair to fall out. My most recent episode with that was about 5 years ago. I lost about half of my hair. I was wearing wigs. I was wearing hats all the time. And just recently I had one new spot that popped up after all of it had grown back. One of the things that I feel like really helped me get my hair back the first time around when I lost so much of it was an elimination diet. I also feel like elimination diets can be really helpful for people on the spectrum. They have to be done with regards to how you handle change. So a lot of people on the spectrum don't do well with change. And so with an elimination diet, you might want to take it one baby step at a time. I do feel that there's a connection between autism and autoimmune disease. It's mostly based off my own personal experience, though some doctors have kind of ventured into that territory. We still need a lot more research there. I feel like they're related because in my experience, people on the spectrum tend to experience a lot of internal stress because we're over processing things compared to neurotypical people. We might hear things more loudly, might feel touch more viscerally, we might be affected by lights, and so we're constantly taking in all these stimuli and trying to process it in a way that appears acceptable to the people that we're talking to. And so I think that can create a lot of internal stress, which can cause inflammation. And inflammation is one of the contributors to autoimmune disease. Autoimmune disease is when your body kind of turns on a part of itself and attacks it. It sounds kind of scary. Alopecia is my body turning on the part of itself that produces hair. Because my body is stressed out and has inflammation, it's kind of lashing out, trying to put the fire out somehow. It's probably not random. It's probably, in a decade, we're going to have science that pinpoints exactly how your body determines what to attack. But for me, it's my hair follicles. Okay, so let's talk inflammation. Inflammation is a key contributor to sickness and aches and pains. It's all related to our immune system. And scientists are now discovering that about 80% of our immune system is in our gut. Intestine, stomach, all of that jazz. And our gut is now being considered by some to be our second brain because it's so intricately connected to what goes on up here that they function together. So whenever our gut is off balance, it affects our brain. I am really excited about this area of study because I just feel like there are so many strides forward that we can make here in learning about the mind-body connection. So here's what I've learned. So with inflammation, a lot of times it starts in your gut. So you may have heard of something called leaky gut before. What leaky gut is, your stomach has a stomach wall, and normally nothing gets past it. Your food stays in your stomach, everything's fine, it digests and leaves your system. But whenever you're stressed, your body starts working harder than it needs to, and certain parts start wearing down a little bit. Something that might not have given you trouble before now seems to be a little bit harder to process. Your body is digesting food that may start giving you trouble in stressful times because of the extra inflammation and stress. It starts to wear down your stomach lining. So this really thick wall that didn't let anything pass before now starts to break down. And that food that's supposed to stay in your stomach might now start trickling outside of your stomach wall and into other parts of your body where it causes more inflammation. And that's a huge problem because that can be a big significant contributor to autoimmune disease. Because 80% of our immune system is in that area, we want to make sure that we are taking care of our stomach. We're taking care of our immune system by really being mindful of what we put in our bodies. That's one thing I'm really grateful for with the elimination diet. I feel like it's helped me kind of retrain my body for what it needs rather than what we've trained it to want because of all the fast food and salt and carbohydrates and sugar. So we have inflammation in our body. 80% of our immune system is in our gut. How do we heal it? All right, we talked about the stomach wall kind of breaking down. We need to build that back up. We need to give our body opportunity to be able to strengthen that wall so that it can handle anything that we throw at it. Maybe not anything. We're not going to eat 4 corn dogs and a turkey leg. On an elimination diet, the idea is you take out foods that are commonly inflammatory. Number 1, gluten. Why? Because there are so many different ways that we manufacture, produce, process wheat now. Our bodies used to be comfortable breaking down wheat, gluten. It was super common. We had it all the time. But now we've figured out how to make wheat withstand pests more easily. We've figured out how to mass produce it. It's been genetically engineered to be able to add more vitamins or whatever, XYZ you pick. But now when we eat wheat, our body says, this looks kind of like something that I've had before, but it's different. It's going to be a little bit harder for your stomach to digest it because it's not quite sure what to do with it. And sometimes you might get some wheat or a gluten product that is so far off from the DNA profile that it's used to that it treats it like an invader. And so that's when you start getting the inflammation in the stomach, wears down the stomach lining, and then that gluten goes outside of the stomach and into other parts of the body where it's not supposed to be. That creates aches and pains. The most noticeable thing for me when I took gluten out was brain fog. I'm a baker. I've baked and baked and baked my entire life, and I live for chocolate chip cookies. I will never go back to eating gluten. That's how much it changed my life. So gluten, number one. Number two is dairy. I live for cheese. I understand that's a really atrocious thought that dairy is super inflammatory. Caffeine, alcohol, sugar, soy, corn, tortilla chips. Oh my gosh, that's my favorite. Tacos are my favorite, so that's really sad. And then red meat. Red meat can be really inflammatory. There's other things that you might find that you in particular have a hard time with. There's something called nightshade vegetables that you can look up. Those can also be inflammatory for some people. Elimination diets can also be really good for people with Crohn's disease as well. So we've talked about some of the common inflammatory foods. What do we do with this information? It takes a while for a certain type of food to get out of your system. So if you stop eating gluten for a day, no big deal. It's not going to make a change in your life because that stays in your body for a while. You have to take it out of your diet and let your body remember what it's like to not have that food. And when you reintroduce it again later, you can more closely monitor the effect that it has on your system. So right now it's gotten so used to whatever it does, it might cause inflammation, it might not, but it's gotten so used to that process that you don't notice it anymore. It's just like drinking water. You put it in your body, the same thing happens every time. You may or may not know what the effect of that is. So we remove it for about 30 days. That's typically the recommended time frame for an elimination diet. And then you slowly reintroduce that product. So on day 31, you don't go to McDonald's and have like a Big Mac and chicken nuggets and all of the bread, okay? Because then you're going to be really, really sick. But you slowly introduce it. And you just take note of your symptoms. Do you have more brain fog? Do you have more agitation? Do you have bloating? Do you have more joint pain? There's a lot of resources out there that can kind of guide you, maybe even give you some journaling questions to answer whenever you start reintroducing foods back into your diet. So you're going to eliminate something or lots of things from your diet for 30 days or more. I personally have even found that if I can tell myself to go 21 days without something, that seems a lot more manageable than 30. And by the time I'm at 21, I usually can make it to 30 because I realize that I'm feeling so much better. When I first did the elimination diet, my hair was falling out like crazy, and I was desperate to do whatever it took to save my hair. So I eliminated caffeine, sugar, alcohol, gluten, dairy, soy. I think the second night, I woke up in cold sweats, shaking because I wanted sugar so badly. I was so mad. I was sure that I would not make it through the rest of the elimination challenge. I stuck with it. By the end of the first week, I was feeling so much better. If you can make it like to day 4 or 5, you will notice the brain fog start to lift. I eliminated all of those things at once because, like I said, I was desperate for change. You want to make sure that you're replacing that with lots of vegetables, lots of fruits. The thing about eating better, like eating whole foods, you can pretty much have as much as you want, as long as you're listening to your body, as long as you're not stuffing it. But like brown rice was really good for me on the elimination diet, eggs. Although if you know you have a tendency to respond to eggs in a bad way, then that can be something else that you try eliminating. RX bars were really good for the challenge. Those have really minimal ingredients. And then now you can find stuff at specialty grocery stores that are packaged foods that fit like the Whole30 diet, which is a pretty good indicator for elimination diet. There's some chips that are sweet potatoes, coconut oil, and salt. That got me through so many hard nights. And then one of my other favorite go-tos is you take coconut milk, a can of coconut milk. It has to be the full fat version. Put it in the fridge, in the back of the fridge where it gets really cold. And at night when you have that sweet tooth come out and really want something, take that coconut cream, put it in the mixer, whip it up for a long time until it gets fluffy and foamy. And sprinkle in some cocoa powder, a little bit of honey, and top it with strawberries and some sliced almonds. And it is so good. There are so many resources now out there. You can just Google elimination diet recipes. There's a great book by Dr. Amy Myers called The Autoimmune Solution that got me through this challenge. Wonderful recipes. There's a chicken curry recipe in there that's amazing. You want to make sure that you're replacing what you're taking out with really good stuff. Okay, if you replace it with crap, then you're going to feel worse. So it's a really great opportunity to kind of train your body how to eat healthier things. It's really, really hard at first, but I promise it gets easier. So I'm doing the elimination diet a second time, and it's so much easier this time around because I've learned how to adapt these type of eating habits into my life, and it feels much less daunting. So I just want to encourage you. Again, if anybody loves sugar, it's me. I have actually made a career out of sugar because I had an at-home bakery at one point in my life. When I'm not on an elimination diet, I'll eat it occasionally and I really enjoy it. But I do have much less of that in my life. I keep gluten out 100% of the time now because I feel so much better. And I do try to limit my dairy because that's the other thing that really seems to affect me. Just to recap, I know we've covered a lot of material. We want to give our stomach wall the opportunity to heal and strengthen so that it is able to process all of our food correctly. And the way we do that is by simplifying our diet, removing the common allergens for at least 30 days. You can eliminate one of them or all of them. I would recommend starting with 1 or 2 if you've never done anything like this before. After that, there's the reintroduction phase where you're going to slowly add in one of those food groups at a time and make sure that you're taking note of what happens when you reintroduce this into your life. Those symptoms might not come up for 24 hours after you reintroduce it. Just make sure you're paying attention to headaches, brain fog, irritability, stomach issues, sleep. All those things will be great indicators for how the food is actually affecting you. Overall, I think you'll be really pleasantly surprised with what happens once you see this through. It's one of the best gifts that you can give yourself in terms of health, and I think you'll start to realize, as I did, just how important it is what we put into our body. The last thing I would recommend is that when you embark on this, surround yourself by other people who are doing this. You're like, how do I do that? Online. There's so many great podcasts. Whole30 stuff is really close to elimination diet in a lot of regards. Check out books from the library, read articles online. If you're filling your mind with stories of other people who have done this and the results that they've had, it's so much easier. I almost feel like this should be a requirement. If you're going to do the elimination diet, you have to be taking in stories and information and recipes from other people who have done this successfully already. So with that, I truly believe that this elimination diet can help you bring health and life and vitality back to your body. It can reduce brain fog and irritability. It can help you sleep better. And I can't believe I forgot to mention, make sure that you're drinking a ton of water on the elimination diet. As a general rule of thumb, you want to try to drink half of your body weight in ounces of water every single day. And that is one of the best things that you can do when you're on the elimination diet because it helps flush all the toxins out of your body. Okay, one more tip. At night, when you get the munchies and you really want to eat something, sip on tea. How could that ever replace what I actually want to eat? A lot of times the motion of just bringing something to our mouth, that routine, that ritual, is really calming and soothing. And again, if you're not getting enough calories and you feel really hungry, as long as you're eating pretty clean, you can eat as much as you want. Try to stop eating by 8 p.m. every evening, and that will really help with digestion and sleep as well. It's kind of a shotgun blast of all my favorite tips and tricks with elimination diet. Let me know in the comments if you've done one before or what is holding you back, because like I said, I think this is one of the best gifts that you can give yourself, and I'm really excited to hear about y'all's experiences in the comments, and let me know if you have any tips or favorite recipes. I would love to be able to make those as well. Love yourself, invest in your health. It's one of the best things you can do for yourself and your loved ones, and I hope everybody has a great day.